Good evening, campers. I hope you're going well, gang. I hope you had yourselves an amazing week. Andy here, the professional human. Hope you're going well, team. Hope you are going well. Apologies for the lack of an appearance on Wednesday. Make no excuse for it. It was my old man, should have been my old man's birthday. So I was just having a bit of a chilled out, quiet moment with the kids. No apologies for that, really. It's just one of those things that sometimes we just got to make sure we're prioritizing the right things, right? Now, gang, how are we out of 10? How's our week been out of 10? Put your scores on the doors in the comment section below, please. I want to know how everybody has been. I want to talk about something that it's an observation that I've made that is really sort of causing a bit of angst, and it's doing it in a very sort of subconscious, sort of subliminal way. And I want to have a sort of dig into that a little bit over the course of tonight. But I want to know how everybody's going in Victoria, how you're getting on with all of the private inspections and whatnot, how stock levels, how are your vendors getting on right now? And I want to ask that for everybody around the country, because I'm hearing a lot of stories now, a lot of little niggly stories about vendors, sellers that are just going a bit too far beyond where the market is likely sitting. And they are the first indicators of a potential change in the market. I know that lenders are really starting to get pressured on to tighten up their lending criteria and so on and so forth. Federal governments are really starting to try and work through them to slow things down a little bit, because realistically, they might increase the interest rates maybe next year or the year after, but they have kind of sort of put themselves into a corner where they've sort of really committed to 2024 with that. So they're going to have to try and do something to maybe potentially slow things down. And it's obviously going to come through the corporate landscape, as with a number of other things that's going on right now. New South Wales. Oh, Gladys. Away she goes. How are you guys feeling about that? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you sort of a little bit concerned that, you're almost there in this whole roadmap thing, and she, for better or for worse, she was getting you there. Are any of you sort of become a little bit unnerved by that? Tell us your thoughts. Queensland, I'm seeing and hearing more agents that are really sort of having a bit of a trouble with their sellers and getting sellers to see the reality of the marketplace, and sort of, trying to get them to not be too overzealous when going to market, right? So team, give us your scores on the doors. Let me know how you're getting on. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know how you're looking forward to the weekend and what action you've got coming forward and all that sort of stuff. Let us know in the comment section below. Now, gang, I want to dig straight into the topic that I really want to sort of bring to people's attention, right? It's something that doesn't really get spoken about all too often, but it's an observation that I've made that is certainly causing issues. And I don't know if anyone's really realizing this yet, right? And it's all around the topic of being really busy, right? Now, that phrase down there, I'm so busy, is probably something that I'm hearing at the start of almost every conversation when I'm asking people how they're getting on and how they're going and how everything's rocking in their world. Almost all the time, I'm just getting, oh man, I'm so busy, Andy. Oh, I'm really busy at the minute. Oh, it's just crazy. So I'm just crazy busy, just so busy. And I want to, like I said, team, I want to not be discouraging hard work, but I want to bring to everybody's attention how much language can really sort of affect the way that we're carrying on with ourselves and our psyches and our mentalities. Our motivations as well is really critical around all of this, right? So this phrase, I'm so busy, ask yourself, how many times do you think you've said, whether it's to yourself or whether it's to other people when they've spoken to you or whatever the case may be, how many times do you think you've said the phrase, I'm so busy? I reckon it's a buttload, right? I reckon it's really often. And the issue with that is, right, so let's have a think about the word busy. Whenever we talk about the word busy, there's generally not very many positive connotations around the word busy. when we're describing stuff, right? Generally speaking, leaders would say a lot of the time, oh, look, he's acting like they're busy, or they're doing stuff just to be busy, right? There's very rarely can people say, or even think about it yourselves. Have you ever said at any stage anything that's really positive is really busy? Ultimately, if the business is going really, really well, you wouldn't be saying, man, if you're saying I'm so busy, you would then probably be saying, I'm so busy, it's amazing, right? But right now, loads of people, pretty much everyone that I've spoken to, is just saying, yeah, man, I'm really busy right now. Is that really that positive? I want to bring to people's attention this notion that saying that you are so busy to whoever it is quite possibly the most toxic thing you could be saying right about now. Because the way what we say affects how we feel and how we think. All right. It really, really is. It's called linguistic determinism, right? And what that means basically is, if you say, for example, if you say the word, disgusting, all right, and you say it and repeat it over and over and over and over again, it's a little social experiment. If you keep saying the word disgusting, it's disgusting, disgusting, and then you go, once you've said it over a period of time for however many times, once you then go to try something that you would generally feel is quite nice, the flavor, the taste, the texture, everything about whatever it is would be tainted. You all of a sudden won't like it as much. I would encourage you to give that a go if you don't really believe what I'm saying. Things that we say, and it doesn't even matter if we're saying it to ourselves or to anybody else, the language that we're using is affecting ourselves as much as it is anybody else that is around us. So, what can we say, right? What can we say that's different to saying that I'm so busy, but still implies that you've got loads on and so on and so forth? Because I would highly encourage over the course of this weekend, and this is going to be a relatively short episode, right? I just want people to sort of have a think about just over a few minutes, just while you're pondering, if you've got a spare few minutes at some stage during the course of the weekend, have a think and have a feel for the language that you are using right now. Replay a few conversations that you've had over the course of the last week and have a think and have a feel about how that made you feel through that conversation. I do it myself, right? I'm generally, and this is something that I've been working on quite a lot over the last few years, is generally speaking, my self-talk's really bad. And I've just done it then. My self-talk needs a hell of a lot of adjustment, right? In order to help keep me on the straight and narrow from a mental health point of view and all that sort of jazz. I am the strongest critic when it comes to how I'm getting on with everything, right? And it's something that, also ties in to my sort of growing ethos around goals and how we value goals and the way that we talk about goals and so on and so forth. Because one thing that my psychologist picked up with me was whenever she tried to give me a compliment, I would always say, oh, you know what, we're getting there. And she pulled me up only a few weeks ago and said, hey, Andy, you need to stop saying there. There doesn't exist. We need to focus on being in the present. You need to focus on being content with the work that you're doing now. We need to work. We've got to get around to being focused and fixated on that instead of always thinking that there should always be doing better at some point over there. Therefore turning whatever you've done now into something of insignificance. So, gang, I really want to hopefully spark maybe a couple of thoughts around your general vernacular, right? How you go about describing things, because it will absolutely be affecting how you're rock and rolling right now. It really, really will. Saying that you are so busy, it's not really doing you any favors whatsoever, because it's just all it's going to do, and try and be conscious when you say it next time, all it will be doing is adding pressure. Whenever you say to someone, I'm so busy right now, how often does that make you feel like you're under more pressure every time you say it? And that's exactly my point. We know the sort of pressures that we're under right now. We don't want to then be exacerbating it by the language that we are using in order to communicate that to either other people or to ourselves. It sounds a bit airy fairy, right? But believe me, it is so unbelievably critical that we pay attention to it. Because this is the most used phrase right now. I'm so busy. Like I mentioned in the description, it's even more busy than the whole you're on mute, right? It's even taken over. It's even superseded that as the most commonly used phrase in the real estate landscape right now. And we've got to get ourselves away from that. We've got to start changing the vernacular of how we go about describing the productivity that we are getting on with, or lack of productivity, depending on how we're managing our diaries and our priorities and all those sorts of things, right? It's really, really important that we think about this, gang. Because instead of saying I'm so busy, you could be saying, man, I'm kicking goals left, right, and center. Or, man, I'm so productive right now. It's amazing. Just to have a feel of it. I mean, even try it yourself, right? Now, man, I'm so productive right now. That just saying it to me actually makes me buzz a little bit. And you can have that as well. The ability to do this isn't like only for certain people. This is just basic language. These are just basic words. All you got to do is flick one or two of them, and your game up here really starts to change in a great way. So I just wanted you to have a quick think about it, team. Like I said, I don't want to be on here for too long on the Friday night, but I reckon it's probably I won't say the most alarming observation, but it's definitely an observation that is causing effects up here. We've gone from, in a lot of states, if not all states, at various points, we've gone from neutral or first gear to fifth gear and skipped all the ones in between. And that in itself creates so many different exertions of anxiety and pressure upon our minds, upon our bodies, upon the way we think, feel, act, so on and so forth. We don't want to then compound it by the way that we're describing it to people. Believe you me, gang, this isn't a law of incremental change, right? This isn't a this isn't a Dave Brailsford sort of changing a load of things incrementally by 1% and making 1% improvements everywhere and then culminating into a grand change. These are significant changes. These are significant alterations. Simple to do to a degree, in terms of you can just flip one word for another instead of saying I'm so busy to saying I'm so productive, right? It's only one word of a change, but the effect that it can have will be profound. I can all but guarantee you that. It can be really, really profound. So have a think and a feel about this, please, team, over the course of the weekend. And please, if you could also, if you feel that anybody's really sort of cracking under the pressure, you feel that people are struggling under the pressure, and you have a conversation with them, and via this video, you feel that their language might be causing them even more damage again and making things feel 10 times worse than what it actually is, then please tag them in this, send this video to them, just get them to pay attention to it, because that's the phrase. I'll put it up again. Linguistic determinism. How we talk affects how we think and feel. If you don't believe me, like I said, try or go the other way. Instead of going the disgusting path, take something that you might not be that keen on and then have it in front of you and even say to yourself, like, tasty, amazing, or taste, or something really positive and good that you normally use to describe things that you like to eat, and then give it a go. Chances are you won't hate it as half as much as what you used to. It's a bizarre thing, right? It's all this psychosomatic stuff that I've been doing a hell of a lot of homework on recently, and I've become a lot more conscious around the language that I use to others and to myself. It's a game changer, team. It really is. It sounds simple. It sounds daft. It sounds airy-fairy, but I'm telling you, it works. It really works. So have a think about it, gang. Instead of saying that you're shit, or instead of saying, oh, come on, Andy, or come on, man, that was shit. Why don't we try and change our language around that to, oh, come on, Andy, we know we can do better. No, come on, Andy, you've got this, or something along those lines in terms of that self-talk. It's you, yeah, Lisa. I'm just going to bring that up actually. Instead of saying I have to I get to, changes the whole spin on something. Who did I hear that from? There's a one of the big speakers, one of the big names in the world at the minute that said that I heard that on a podcast, and it was all around Steve Harvey. Of all the people, Steve Harvey, the comedian, the black comedian who hosts Family Feud over in the US. It was an episode. It was a YouTube or a podcast that I heard him say. People that say I have to do this, I have to do that. Generally, the ones that really lament anything that they do. And he said, when you talk about fitness, for example, instead of saying I have to go for a run, why don't you just say I get to go for a run? All of a sudden your language turns into a gratitude language, right? A language of being grateful for what you are able to do. And that's an amazing example of what I'm talking about here with this whole linguistic determinism. It's one of the simplest ways of looking of highlighting it. But you've got to try and be more aware as to said vernacular that you are using regularly. Like I say, I'm becoming so much more conscious of it. I do my best. I'm not infallible, but I do my best to avoid the word busy. Right? So whenever anybody asks me, a lot of the time, and people can attest this, I'll say, you know what? It's nice to feel wanted. Because it just makes me smile to say that. Right? It's nice to feel wanted. It is. You can look at it and saying, oh shit, I'm so busy. I've got however many auctions, or I've got so many training sessions or whatever. Oh, I'm so busy, right? Or I could just say, you know what? It's really cool that people are happy to give me their time. It's really good. It's not, like I said, I use that phrase all the time. It's nice to feel wanted, because it is team. Whether you feel it right now, you don't, or tomorrow, when you might have in Victoria or Sydney, where you've got like 2.5 hours of private inspections at one property, and halfway through there you'll be looking at your watch going, I can't believe I'm still here. I could have got them all through in half an hour. You can talk to yourself like that and compound the issue, but it ain't going to make any shit any different or any better, right? So instead of that, why don't you just think to yourself, take a deep breath and go, oh man, it's nice to feel wanted. Because it's wicked. It's cool. Try and pick yourself up with one or two of these things and become more aware of it, and then hopefully guide yourself into a better state via the language that we use to ourselves and to other people. All right, campers. It sounds so small. I guarantee it's a game changer. You've got to be conscious about it though. And I feel that this phrase, I'm so busy, we need to try and help people around us and ourselves to come away from that and talk about being so productive by, I'm having so much fun right now, or I'm seeing loads of people. It's great. Right? That's the sort of language that we need to be looking at using a lot more. All right, team. Have an amazing weekend. I hope you have if you're watching the NRL grand final between the Rabbitohs and the Panthers, good luck if your team's taking part, but hopefully it'll be a good game for the neutral. If you are chilling out, enjoy it. If you're doing stuff that's productive, make sure you follow it through. I was planning on selling my house, but it looks like that's already done, which is amazing. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we will get to have a Sunday where I have no agenda, which is a rare thing. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to pick up my guitar. I'm going to probably learn a new song. All right, campers, stay safe, stay healthy. Most importantly, though, team, stay happy and keep your ears open for some of these language, for some of this language, for them, some of these words that you might be able to change that can alter your course significantly moving forward. Take care, gang. Love you. Speak to you soon.